Welcome to Sunny Day Stamping. I'm Julie Baca and I'm so glad you're here watching today. I'm going to be showing you how to make this gorgeous card. We're going to be doing watercolor and I'm going to show you how to use a toothbrush to do that. Don't worry, this isn't that messy. I don't like doing messy crafts, so you will rarely see me doing messy. We're going to be using a toothbrush. This is just like a freebie from my dentist, unused, and I've got a kind of a cool technique to show you how to do that. Now all the measurements for this card and all of the supplies I use are over on my website, sunnydaystamping.com. There's a link in the description that you can click on. It says get the measurements, so click on that and you can find out all the details on this, so you don't have to worry about the measurements while we're going. Now, if you want to purchase the supplies, if you're watching this and it is July or August 2022, this is such a fun time to purchase, because with every $50 you spend, you get to pick something free out of the Celebration catalog. So that's super fun. Let's get started on our card. I just wanted to give you a closer look. You can see there is a lot going on in this card, but I'm going to break it down and make it really simple. I've also got some tips to share with you. So you're going to need a basic white thick piece of cardstock. Basic white comes in regular and in thick, and when I use it for a card base, I want the thick. I like that feel of quality. This is a piece of basic white that we're going to use a blending brush on to add color and emboss it, and then kind of rough it up a little bit. These pieces are watercolored, and these are just strips of paper that I had in my scraps. I have a tip to share with you. I save all my scraps. So I have one of these plastic sleeves for all of my different colors, and I label them up here. And so when I'm cutting, even the little tiny pieces that you'd think someone would throw out, I keep them, and I end up using them. It really is amazing, and especially for these sentiment layers. So both of these were in my scrap pile, and I just layered them on there, and I think it looks so cool, and then added a piece of ribbon. Now this is the awesome stamp set that I'm going to be using, but you can use this same technique with other stamp sets that you have at home. I'm also going to be using the dies to cut these out, but you could hand cut them if you want to. You aren't going to be able to get the inside of those, but it'll still look really good. I love this stamp set. It's got such large foliage that it just makes it really easy to stamp with. So let's start with the fun part and do the watercoloring. Now I wanted to add an extra step, and you do not have to do this, but I wanted to add a light color and then accent it using sponge daubers with a darker color. So when you choose your colors, you want one that's really light and then one that's really dark. And you'll see in the other examples, I'm going to use two different colors of like a pinky purple red, and then two different colors of green, one light and one very dark. So I'm going to ink this up all the way in my light color first, making sure there's a lot on there. Then I'm going to take my sponge dauber and really soak it up with that dark color. These come in like a pack of 5. They're super cheap and so versatile. I love them. Easy to clean. Once I'm done with this, I'm just going to rinse it under cold water and blot it with a paper towel and store them. I mean, it's so easy. So I'm just adding this on. Now here is the magic part. Get your clean toothbrush. And I just put it in water like this, tap a little bit out. And what I'm going to do is spritz this. Hold on, let me get this out of the way. I usually do this actually not over my workspace. I do this part over the carpet because it's just water. I'm going to spritz it with water. Can you see that? And now I'm going to put it on my watercolor paper. Hold it there till that paper soaks in all that wonderful color. And then we're going to add just a little bit more. You can see that it is kind of, ooh, maybe that was too much. Oh, there, that's going to be good. Okay, and then we're going to let this dry. Now, Stampin' Up! Sells watercolor paper. It comes in 5x7 sheets, and I gotta be honest, this is not it, and you can tell because this is super flimsy. I ran out, so I just had some other watercolor paper that I'm using. So when you go to make yours and you're using Stampin' Up! Watercolor paper, it's not gonna curl up like this as much. So you're gonna take your bone folder afterwards and do that because their paper is so nice and thick. So I'm gonna go ahead and do the same technique and use some other foliage from that stamp set. I'm also going to stamp one of these twice so that I have a cutout for the inside of my card. Okay, so you're gonna let these dry, and then you're gonna take all of your dies and cut them out. And I have done this already. Now with all these sponge daubers, like I said, they come in a pack of 5, and you probably didn't see me, but I was using a different one for each set of colors. Now I'm gonna go rinse these out and let those dry. So I just want to reiterate, make sure this is completely dry before you cut out those pieces. So I'm going to leave them there to dry while we move on to the next part. So we're going to be working on this layer right here. I'm going to grab this piece of paper, and I forgot the measurements on it. They're over on my website, but you can also, let me see what it is. This is a 3 by 5 1/4. I send these out to my email subscribers. It's a 1-page project sheet that has all of the measurements, some written instructions, link to the video, link to all of the supplies. So when you go to make this card, you can just gather up all your supplies really quickly. If you'd like to have this, you can sign up for my email subscriber list. There's a link down in the description, and I emailed these out to you. Now, if you're watching this and it's past the week that I made this project, just ask me for the other project sheets, and I email them right out to you. Well, as soon as I can. Okay, so now I was going to say, with this piece, I used Evening Evergreen on this one. But for this one, I just wanted to do it different, and I'm going to use Pool Party. We're going to use a blending brush and just layer on some color in the back here. So I'm going to start this on my scrap paper first, and then just build some color onto this sheet. So it'll create like a really cool backdrop to really make the foliage that we're going to put on top of it really pop. There, I think that'll be good enough. And I kind of messed up here. There's some ink that kind of got off, but I think it'll be okay. So now I'm going to use an embossing folder. I'm going to use this. This is out of the Stripes and Splatters. It comes in a pack of 2. And I'm just going to place this in here. I don't know why I'm turning this around. Oh, I know what I'm turning it around. I want to show you. They put these lines on the embossing folders on purpose. I'm going to actually flip this over. There we go. You're going to line that up and fold it down. Now, when you run it through your cut and emboss machine, this is a tip. You want to make sure that this folded edge goes in first. It's going to be easier on your embossing folder and easier on your machine. So now take this out. I just love opening that up. And the way I got this curled on the side of this corner is I just take this corner, and I'm fairly rough with it, I guess. Do that a couple times till it's really curved up. Then I'm going to take my fingernails, and I'm just going to kind of roll this in my fingers to get that to separate into 2 pieces. There we go. And then I'm going to tear this apart like that. And then I'm going to use this again on both of these separately. There we go. Now we'll set that aside, and let's go ahead and stamp our sentiment. Like I told you, this was a piece of scrap, and I'll show you how we're going to measure that out later. But right now we'll stamp our sentiment, and I'm going to use Starry Sky, but you could use black or whatever you have. And I want to stamp it in about a 1/2 inch, 1/4 inch from the left, and just lining it up along the paper. That is not very straight. I'm going to flip this over. I am going to put this under my eyes instead of the camera eye. There we go. Now I can get it nice and straight. All right, there we go. I'm gonna let that dry over here with everything else. Now go ahead and cut all your pieces out. Okay, now that we have all our pieces, we'll go ahead and assemble our card. And I'm going to make sure this is nice and creased down with my bone folder. Now the way I put this on here, and you can do it totally different, I put it in a 1/4 inch from the left crease of my card base, and I lined it up on the top. It's definitely asymmetrical, but I kind of liked that look. Now when I put glue on here, I don't want to glue my curve down. So just put glue up in at an angle there at the top. Now this is why I didn't have you measure this piece. You just want it 1 inch wide and however long, because what we're going to do is line it up along the edge of this and then trim it. Just trim it off. I'm going to hold this in place, flip this over, and just use my paper snips to trim it off. You could also measure, but that seems faster to me. Now I'm going to set that aside and let's layer on all of our foliage. So I just have it, I don't know, you just kind of just put it in there like that until it looks good to you. Mix the pieces around if you want. Make sure you can see everything really nicely. You could glue those down, but honestly, I thought it was faster just to take a piece of tape because I'm going to cover up these stems anyway. That just seemed easier to me. I do like this is the focal point, this bright colored one. So I definitely want that in the forefront. I don't want the other leaves on top of it. I'm just going to tape that down and make sure you get all the pieces. And you could, like I said, you can glue it down. So maybe I'll put just a little glue in the back here. I don't even know if you can see what I'm doing. Just the tiniest bit of glue. But I do like them kind of curved up, and you can take your fingers and curve those up or use your bone folder. There we go. Now that we have this piece measured out, and the way I liked putting it in is I loved having this foliage come down into the sentiment layer. It just looks way more interesting. So that's where I'm going to put it. But I want to add some ribbon first. And I'm also going to use tape for this as well. Although I guess you could use mini glue dots. So what I'm going to do is tape this behind here. And you're going to need about 7 inches. And I'm going to have it come up. Tape it again. Ah, this is why glue dots would be better, because I'm having to struggle. And then I'm going to curve this down and tape it again along the back. Right here. You know, I'm going to redo this. I don't like that big long, that is way too, coming down way too long. So I'm going to pull this up. There, that looks better to me. I'm going to have to readjust my tape. There we go. Now we'll do the same on this side. So I'm just curving it under. There we go. Tape that in place. And now I'm going to cut this at a slant. Oh, that one didn't work very well. There we go. There. So now we're going to put this in here. Well, that's coming down too far. I'm going to have to trim up that. I don't want that extending past my card. There we go. Oh no, I snipped my paper. You know, I'm looking at this other card and realizing the reason why this is so far down. Oh no, we're good, we're good. Okay. All right, so now, before I glue this down, I'm gonna put in this little accent piece, and this can be any color that you have a strip of. I'm gonna use rich raspberry because I thought it would look awesome. It's the same ink color as in here, and I thought it would look awesome against this ribbon. And so I'm gonna see where that's gonna go. Then I'm gonna move this out of the way, and I'm gonna put glue on this and kind of just eyeball. This doesn't have to be perfect, just kind of eyeball where that goes. I don't know if I eyeballed right, so what I'm gonna do is put this under here, hold that white piece in place, and just make sure that this is right. Okay, that's right. So now I want to make sure, is this parallel to the bottom of my card? I really want that straight. Hopefully that's right. Then we're just going to pop this up with some dimensionals. I'm going to use quite a few because these go through, if you're going to mail this, it goes through the rollers at the post office, and I don't want it to get smushed. So I want to really support all of this because it's so long. I don't want it to get crushed. I'll put one more over here, I think. Just going to tuck that in there. Great. Now we've got one extra. I'm just going to put this on the inside. I decided I wanted to put a little stamp on the inside too, which I hope I don't mess this up, because that's like the #1 rule, is you stamp first and then you cut and everything. But oh, that's going to look good. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up. Click the little thumbs up. It really helps my channel and helps it get to more people. If you tried this watercolor toothbrush technique, leave me a comment. I'd love to know what you did with this idea. Thank you so much for watching. Have a sunny day.